Since March of 2024, HHS has paid $18 million per month to keep the facility in Pecos, Texas, used for housing unaccompanied migrant children. That was previously at the center of reports of poor conditions. That's what they said.
Okay, well,
so I don't know if that's the reason why they stopped using it.
So
okay, but hold on. Look at that the sentence before. As a result, this is the big controversy, right? As a result, Family Endeavor's cash portfolio of investments grew from $8.3 million in 2020 to $520 million in 2023.
So what? Yeah,
that is sus.
Yeah, it's not at all. That's not at all sus. They got money from a contract. That's not all sus. Why would that be sus?
Well, one, they shut it down for
nobody's using it.
No, hold on. We understand. I know, Tim. You understand migration flows, right? Migration flows aren't constant. So there are some times and we've seen this, right? When migration has skyrocketed, right? And
because they were bringing them in.
Okay, whatever. I love you, Gibbs. So it's skyrocketed, right? And we've had a ton of facilities filled up to the brim, right? To the point, and you might remember this, Tim, when there was within Texas, right? We were housing migrants under a bridge. Because exactly. Yeah, it was entirely too much. And so we didn't have enough facilities. So what this is doing, right? So yes, this was an empty facility, but we understand that we don't know when those migration flows are going up. They were being paid to keep that facility open, right? So when it does go up, we have a place to put the kids. And if you want to complain, right, about the bad treatment of migrants, I agree, right? We treated them far worse than I think anything this facility probably done.
I don't want to.
No, we remember the reports, right? We remember the reports of what happened to those migrants. We remember the sexual abuse. We remember the freaking guy who was not castrating them, but he was sterilizing women, right? There was a doctor who was sterilizing women who were trapped in the immigration jails before. We understand, yes, the federal government treats people badly, but specifically talking about this contract is actually useful because we want to hold that space.
I don't want to dive too much into immigration because that's not.
No, but you brought this up. Right?
I will. Immigration's effectively zero now, right?
Well, that's where I was going to go with that. Is we have had a record number of catches, right, on the border. They're having record numbers of not gotaways, right? Because one, Abbott went down there and built the wall, and two, Trump has backed them up, and it's proof that this is how it relates to Doge is. It's proof that the government could have stepped in and done these things if they had wanted to, right? And so then when we see this facility, this is clearly a fleece because they could have shut down the immigration because Trump's done it, and then we could have shut it down, and then we hold on.
Do we have a caravan coming? Do we have a caravan coming right now?
Not anymore because the wall's up.
Because the wall is up. The wall hasn't changed. What are you talking about? Hold on. Did Trump suddenly build a massive amount of wall
in
the time since? Oh, okay. So but. Even when that was happening, we saw massive amounts of people trying to.
And we also saw in the areas where the wall was built in locations like Eagle Pass, it went from 1,500 a day to 3 in a week.
Yeah. So your point is yes.
So what I'm saying is we can stop it, and then we do stop it, and then we have these facilities.
All you're saying that migrants can't become intangible, right? They're not X-Men. They're not Kitty Pryde, right? They're not intangible. And so when they find a wall, right, they try to go around that wall. Or they try to look for.
Well, then how has it been stopped completely then? Because we do have people coming up here. I don't understand what your argument is here. It's not a good one.
It hasn't been stopped completely. I'm saying that if there's another. I keep hitting the mic. I apologize. If there's another crisis that happens, right, within some Central South American country, right,
there's always a crisis. There's a crisis right now.
Hold on. But
Venezuela.
Oh my God, dude! Migration comes in waves. We know this, right? It comes in different ways. And under each administration, right? Under the Obama administration, the Trump administration, the Biden administration, and then again during the Trump administration, there's going to be another surge. It happens all the time. And when that happens, the question is, what do we do about them? Do we actually prepare, right? Do we understand context? Do we understand history? It's last time this happened, this was a huge problem. We didn't have any place to put these goddamn kids, right? So, can we have a place available at that time? It's actually a tiny amount of money.
Well, two things to this objection, real quick. One, we've stopped it. It's proven we can stop it.
Hold on. What does we've stopped it mean, though?
Texas government and then on top of that,
there are other places to go in.
What Trump has done nationwide, we've seen record numbers of catches nationwide. We proved he could stop it. Two,
that doesn't stop people from coming.
I didn't even factor in what Mr. Poole here brought up about the inhumane things. But if it was inhumane, that's definitely one that should be shut down.
All our prisoners and
why are
humanity.
we gonna have a facility that we clearly didn't need because we could have stopped it from the get-go?
Yeah,
and
no,
then
we
when we
couldn't.
get there, it's
No.
not even used.
No, you
How can you justify
You're
18 million a
simply
month to
stating
bring
that.
something from
And-
cold
and then-
to like whatever? Like y'all bring up, we
Yeah,
don't know.
sure.
What I do
You're
know
simply
is I know
stating
how
that.
businesses work, right?
And no,
when I
this
look at a
isn't a
business,
business.
but
This is a
hold on.
government.
No, in family endeavors, right? Whenever I look at a business and they're charging 18 mil a month to keep a facility open because they got to keep it from cold storage. All right, what do you have to do? Okay, maybe you have to replace medicine. Okay, how much can that cost? Let's just say it costs $1 million to replace medicine.
It's not just the
let's,
medicine.
let's say how many
It's the
employees are you
potential use.
paying like that are you doing this? Let's say another $3 million for all these employees. There's no way you could justify
Also-
18 mil a month.
One,
It's a fleece.
Oh,
It's
no,
a corruption.
Also, there's the potential. Okay, look, I'm not going to like necessarily like go through and defend a contract that I don't know the exact details of, right? But there's also the potential of that space, right? So not only are they
Potential?
yeah, because if they weren't using
we
it for-
spending money on the
oh
potential?
my, if they weren't, yeah, actually, no. Of course you are. Of course you are. Why wouldn't a business charge for that, right? Right? If Tim,
insanity.
Sure. If Tim is told that someone wants to use his studio, right? But like they're not sure when. But they are going to use it at some point in time, right? And Tim's like, okay, well, I guess I'll let you use the studio, but like I could be using this to do work. I could be using this to make money, right? So what I'm going to charge you for this is the price of like the studio maintenance of itself and what I might be able to make, right? Like a nominal rate for what I might be able to make otherwise. Otherwise, he's losing money because he doesn't know when that contract is actually going to come in. Obviously, you know business. Right, you know business, so you know this.
Yeah, but
right?
they're overcharging.
Right.
Yeah, they might.
I respect the point you're making.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and give a analogy. If I were to rent out my studio,
Mm-hmm.
we've got personnel who have to be on site to run and fix the cameras. So if someone said, we don't know exactly when, but we're going to need to use that studio. And I say, okay, well, when is when? I mean, what do you want from us? Just keep it open. Well, if you want me to keep it open, we need facilities maintenance. That means somebody to check the plumbing. And you got to be there every day, and they have to have a clipboard where they go to every single room and write down, is the water working, are the pipes frozen, whatever might happen. We have to check the cameras every single day, because if you want to be able to use it on a dime, on a moment's notice, we have to check the cameras and do all that every single day. We're going to have a minimal skeleton crew who's there. For a larger facility, it's probably going to be 2 people. So for this facility, we need at least 2 people, one person in the studio at all times, one person walking the grounds. People will steal things. And you're going to have to pay us every single month to maintain that. I think the bigger issue is this is interconnected to clearly the Biden administration was allowing illegal immigration and then offering up facilities money to operate.
That's absolutely what it is.
But it's I'm not arguing an opinion. I'm saying they did allow this. Biden is quoted as saying surge the border.
He said that.
He told the immigrants to surge
That's a
the
direct
border.
quote.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. First of all, I love this, the context of that quote. But Kamala Harris like literally went out. The
borders are.
I don't want. Yeah, the borders are. I don't want to even defend Kamala Harris. To be clear, I'm not a fan of the Joe Biden administration, right? But in any case, right, Kamala Harris actually went to Central America and talked about, hey, don't come. You remember this, right?
Sure.
The
But,
don't come moment. Yeah.
CNN reports from Andrew Kaczynski, Joe Biden promised to absorb 2 million asylum seekers in a heartbeat. In 2019, he now faces an immigration crisis. So the issue is bigger than just, I think it's a fair argument that if the U.S. government wants to maintain a facility, you got to pay to keep it open.
Sure.
The question is, why were they paying to keep a facility open? They could have just said, we're not letting people in. And if they knew that they were facing an immigration crisis and shutting the border down, they could have shut those facilities down.
International treaties, right, to say that like if a person presents themselves at a border, right, or even not at the border, at to government officials, like we have to process them. That's international. That's actually part of the law. It's not like you just shut it down.
I don't know that that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you're talking about the asylum treaty. One, that's a whole different thing. But like on top of that, like one, I'm also
That's not a whole different thing. That's part of this,
No,
right?
like,
If
people are
coming
claiming
and
asylum
They're
because they're
claiming
like-
asylum. Yes, actually, we have to process them. We're legally obligated to process those people.
Yeah, we're not obligated to process them here. We could process them at the embassies. We could process them there. And on top of that, people are claiming asylum because of gang violence. Like, I'm sorry, that's not a real reason for asylum.
So they're prohibited from being under the Refugee Act of 1980 and the 1951 UN Refugee Convention. They are prohibited from being returned to their home countries. They must be processed. However, there is no requirement that they enter the United States.
Yeah,
well, that's crazy.
You can process them anywhere, sure, right? But that doesn't. But some of them will end up being processed here. And also there's, the immigration doesn't happen like straight through the border, right? Because we get immigration from all kinds of sources.
Sure.
But the point is that we are supposed to process them somewhere, right? And I want them to do it humanely. And you bringing up the humane point. The U.S. doesn't treat any of its goddamn prisoners humanely, right? Our citizen prisoners, we don't treat humanely. That's something that we should change. I'm curious, will Doge deal with that? But that's a larger issue, right? That doesn't go to say that any individual contract dealing with these things is necessarily a problem. But we can.
There's something called the Safe Third Country Agreement. Individuals are not required in the United States to apply for asylum in the first safe country they arrive in. However, they can be denied, found ineligible if they do pass through safe countries without seeking protection.
Yeah, so the administration identifies quote unquote safe countries that they can So if you're coming up,
There's no safe countries in all of Central America.
And that's hold on.
I mean, to be honest.
I mean,
all right, well, relative.
No.
Mexico's pretty good, but that's still North America.
Well, even then, Mexico, right? The migrants like staying in.
I guess anything Central America is technically.
Oh my God,
I love Mexico.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you would love Mexico, right? A man of money, right? Who can afford.
Bro, hold on there.
My dad's illegal.
Oh, I'm
from
sorry.
Mexico,
Have you been to
originally.
Mexico? You do not need to be a man of money. People go to Mexico specifically because the medical care is cheaper.
It's great.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That's why I love Mexico.
You went to Mexico because the
medical treatment.
Really? Oh.
Because you
pretty good
can get
doctors.
medical treatment that's not legal in the United States, and it's like a tenth of the cost.
Okay.
So family members of mine get all their dental work done in Mexico. Not only is it like a tenth of the cost, but they have advanced technology. They do blood platelet treatment. I don't know what it's called. After you get dental work done, they take some of your plasma. They spin it in a centrifuge, take the concentrated platelets, and inject it at the site to increase healing. Bro, Mexico is awesome. Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.